What's going on, y'all? This GA. So the question is, have you ever found yourself in any part of your walk with the Father? You find yourself challenged with being obedient. You find it very difficult at times, or like I said, challenging at times. Well, I have. You get what I'm saying? I have found that to be very hard. He'll give you instructions to do. He'll tell you give you some ways to live by according to his word. He says, look, I want you to walk in love towards this person. And then you decide, nah, I don't want to do that. And they shouldn't have said what they said and did what they did. And so you got this battle going on because of disobedience. You got this battle happening between your two ears. So this is one thing I want to talk about here. Let's look at this. It says we must be always ready. What does that mean? That means that I must be always ready, in season and out of season, to do, to live, to be however the Father has called me to do, live, and be. You get what I'm saying? Whatever it is the Father called you to do, you want to be ready at all times. Not being ready is being disobedient. Look at that. So we're going to dig into this disobedience a little bit. So not being ready is walking in disobedience. That means because I already know what he's telling me to do. I know already what he called me to do. So I need to be ready at all times to fulfill the very thing that he is wired for me to fulfill. So let's look at Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. It says, then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now, five of them were wise and five were foolish. So you got 10 virgins. You got five wise, five foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they had slumbered and slept. Check this out. So now you have 10 bridegrooms waiting. You have ten virgins waiting for the bridegroom. That's where we at. Starting left off at verse 5. Waiting for the bridegroom, but you got five that are wise, five that are foolish. What did the foolish ones do? They didn't prepare themselves. They didn't prepare themselves. So when the Father gives us instructions, and still dealing with this whole disobedience piece, but when the Father gives us instructions, He is looking for us to obey the instructions. What does the obeying the instructions do? Obeying the instructions puts me in preparation. It gets me in position and in place to do and to be what the Father is calling me to do and to be in the earth. So then he says, verse 5, Matthew 25, 5. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight, a cry was heard. Behold, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. You see what I'm saying? That means so the foolish, so now it's time to present yourself before the bridegroom, but you're not prepared. You're looking for somebody else to help you out because you didn't want to be obedient and do what was necessary, which was to go get some extra oil for your lamp. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes we do this, and this is what disobedience does. Disobedience gets you in a place of not being prepared, not being prepared to do what the Father is calling you to do. This is how we sabotage our lives. This is how we sabotage our assignments. This is how we sabotage the purpose on our life. This is how we sabotage ourselves from going out and being able to walk in destiny. This is why disobedience. And this is what disobedience does. You see what I'm saying? So the foolish ones, they're looking for the ones that got the oil, the wise ones, to give them the oil, but they don't have it. You see what I'm saying? They were not prepared. And so this is what I'm saying. Prepare yourself. When the Father speaks to you, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, even when it comes to the place of prepare yourself in prayer. How do I do that? I get my mind in order. He says, meditate on thy word day and night. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting my mind, I'm settling my mind down on him. I'm building up my prayer life. I'm operating in righteousness, walking out this righteous walk. You get what I'm saying? So being obedient, or being obedient, or let's say this, not moving in disobedience puts me in position to be prepared. It puts me in the right frame of mind. It puts my heart in the right place. It's saying it's some I'm when I'm obedient, I'm submitting to his will, to his commands. You know what I'm saying? So look, this is why he says, if you know that it's good for you to be faithful over a few things because he'll make you ruler over many, right? I'm paraphrasing that though. So in order for me to see, it's the faithful over the few things where he finds that he can trust you. Why? Because you're not walking in that disobedience. If I'm being faithful, that means I'm being diligent and consistent over the few things, over the little that he has entrusted me with, and I'm doing with it what he says. I'm using it according to his will for my life. I'm serving who he's telling me to serve. I'm operating in the ministry the way he's saying to operate. I'm being subject to the man or woman of God, wherever church he has placed me under or placed you under, however that is, whatever he's calling you to do. You see what I'm saying? Whatever he's calling you to do. I'm sorry, that was my dog. Whatever he's calling you to do. You get what I'm saying? So now let's go to verse 6. So he says, at midnight a cry was heard, behold, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, no, lest there should not be enough for us and you. But go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. So the foolish ones missed out because they were not prepared. And they were not prepared because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Get the oil in the lamp. Make sure you got extra oil. You see what I'm saying? It's just like the Bible says this, that many are called, but few are chosen. Now, the call is meaning that we need to go see what the Father wants. And when you go see what the Father wants, there's going to be some instructions, and there's going to be some instructions on what the Father is going to give you on what to do. And it's up to us to obey that. But when we're disobedient, we're out of position. When we're disobedient, this is what took the children of Israel to a 40-year journey instead of 11 days. Because of disobedience, because we want to serve what we want to serve idol gods. We wanted a golden calf. You get what I'm saying? Me being disobedient to his word, disobedient to his ways, disobedient to his hand, disobedient to his heart, disobedient to his mind. We don't want to know his ways. We don't want to feel his heartbeat. We don't want to walk according to his will. Walk after the spirit and not after the flesh. When we walk after the flesh, we walking in disobedience. You see? So now let's check out another story here. Let's go check out Jonah. Let's check out Jonah. Jonah got something to say about this. Let's see, where you at? So Jonah, let's start in at verse 1. Chapter 1, verse 1. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. So he was given an assignment by the Father. The Father told him, he woke him up and said, look, I want you to do this. Said the word came to Jonah, son of Amittai is saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. So the Father has given Jonah an assignment. Okay? He's given him an assignment, and let's see what Jonah does. But Jonah arose to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. So Jonah decides to disobey what the Father has given him to do, to disobey the instructions. So he already made up in his mind. Once he heard what the Lord wanted and what he wanted him to do, the assignment he placed on him, he made up his mind that he's going to go the other way. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to make the decision to go the way that you want to go. You want to make the decision to go the way that the Father wants you to go. And so let's look at that even now. How many times have we made up our minds? The Father done gave us assignment, done gave us instructions on what we should do, and we decide to do what we want to do. So instead of going to Nineveh, we going to Tarshish. We saying, nah, I'm going the opposite direction. I don't want to go that way. I don't want to go that way. I don't want to go. You see what I'm saying? So he goes to Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. So he paid the price to go where he want to go. And let me share something with you. We pay a price to be disobedient. There is a price to pay for disobedience. You get what I'm saying? This is why we have a redeemer. This is why we serve. This is why Christ died for us, because he knew we was going to be hard-headed and disobedient. You get what I'm saying? And just because I'm disobedient, I'm not disqualified to do what the Father has called me to do. You see what I'm saying? Jonah is very qualified. Why is he qualified? Because the Father qualified him to go, because the Father gave him the instructions to go. Just like the 10 virgins, the 5 that was wise and the 5 that were foolish. They were all 10 virgins, all qualified to go to the bridegroom, but 5 of them wanted to do what they wanted to do. They were foolish. And when we operate in disobedience, we are being foolish. You see what I'm saying? We're being foolish. So let's keep going. So now he says, so now Jonah is on his way to Tarshish. He don't want to go to Nineveh. So now we get verse 4. But the Lord sent out a great wind on the sea, and there was a mighty tempest on the sea, so that the ship was about to be broken up. So now the Father has allowed a storm to come against Jonah being on that ship. Some storms in our lives, we make them. Some of the storms that we deal with is not because not because the Father just want to bring a storm. It's because we're operating in disobedience. So operating in disobedience brings about chaos that we don't necessarily have to deal with, or wouldn't have to deal with if we would just obey what the Father's told us to do. You get what I'm saying? And we go through this, we deal with this. You see what I'm saying? You'll find some leaders that'll get up and they'll preach about, not wanting to call and didn't ask for it, running away from it. And let me show you that they just telling you I was being like Jonah. I was being disobedient. And so if anybody that is watching or paying or watching this video, and the Father has called you to the ministry or whatever it is, called you to be a businessman or a nurse, whatever he called you to, that he's called you, don't run from him. Run to him. I did that. I ran from him and I kept running. I kept running. He called me at 16. I ran until I was 25. Still in church, still playing, still singing, still doing all the other stuff. but not doing what he has required and called me to do. Meaning that I didn't want to go even and answer the call. You get what I'm saying? Because I got so used to seeing all these great preachers get up and start talking about how they ran from the call, but yet they're so great and they're so anointed. So I'm thinking that I had to run. No, to be great. No, you don't. You have to just follow. You want, matter of fact, my whole mind is no longer me being great, but him being great in me and through me. He must be glorified. He said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men. So look, so if that is the case, I have to, I have to purposefully obey his word. Yeshua said it this way. He says, I only do what I see my father do. You get what I'm saying? So now let's look at this and let's look at this a little deeper in Jonah chapter 1, verse 5. So he says this. So now the tempest comes, the storm's getting ready to show up. So verse 5, then the mariners were afraid, and every man cried out to his God. You see that? Every man cried out to the God that they serve. Not talking about Elohim, not talking about the Most High. They talking about their own idol gods. So they cried out to his God, and threw the cargo that was in the ship into the sea to lighten the load. So now my disobedience is causing other people to lose out. See, this is why you gotta, disobedience is dangerous. Because when we are operating in disobedience, we cause those that are around us to miss out on what the Father has for them because we're operating in disobedience and they're trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And they could probably be doing all that they know to do, but yet because we in the same atmosphere, because we are intertwined, because I'm being disobedient, they got to throw off some cargo. They got to get rid of some of their goods. You get what I'm saying? You got to watch this. You got to watch who you hang around. You got to watch who you be, who's in your circle. And come on, hook up with people that want to serve the Father. Quit hooking up with people that don't. You get what I'm saying? They ain't doing nothing but hurting you. They ain't doing nothing but making you throw off. You got to throw off some cargo because you don't want to sink. You see what I'm saying? There's a sacrifice to be made through disobedience. This is the point that I'm getting to. There is some sacrifice that has to come to fruition due to disobedience. So now here we go. So then the mariners were afraid, and every man cried out to his God and threw the cargo that was in the ship into the sea to lighten the load. But Jonah had gone down into the lowest parts of the ship and had lain down and was fast asleep. So they're trying not even figure, they even calling out to their own idol gods. What's going on? Now the idol gods ain't gonna help them, but that's the resources they had. That was their supply. So they like, what's going on? What's happening? And the one that's really not listening to the Father, the one who was called, chosen, is asleep on the bottom of the ship, not even thinking twice. You get what I'm saying? Not thinking twice about being disobedient is not disturbed on being disobedient. So then he says this, verse 6. So the captain came to him and said to him, what do you mean, sleeper? Arise, call on your God. Perhaps your God will consider us so that we may not perish. Y'all seeing this now? This is some good stuff now. Call on your God. So they even know, look, my God ain't got the power to deal with this, but I know yours do. So what are you doing to sleep when all this chaos is going on? Verse 7, and they said to one another, come, let us cast lots that we may know for whose cause this trouble has come upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. You see this? Then they said to him, please, so now Jonah is being exposed. The Father is exposing Jonah. He's being exposed because he letting everybody else know he's the culprit. He's the one that did it. He the one that caused this. You don't want to be exposed because you want to keep being disobedient. It's pretty to be anointed, but it's a damaging thing to be anointed and rebellious. You get what I'm saying? So then he says this, verse 8. Then they said to him, please tell us, for whose cause is this trouble upon us? What is your occupation and where do you come from? What is your country and of what people are you? We need you to give us a rundown of who you are, sir, because we need to know what is this cause? Why is the weather acting like this? Why is the tempest so strong? Why do we have to throw off our crates because of all this mess that's going on? Because we don't want to die. We don't want to sink. See how all this works through disobedience? See? You don't just damage yourself, you damage those that's connected to you. Some people can't get what they need from you because you're too disobedient. You're not walking in the will of the Father. Because you're not walking in the will of the Father, they're missing out. They're missing out on what the Father called them, on what the Father has for them through you. What if Yeshua made that decision? What if he was getting ready? He was praying, and he said, "You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna give up my life for them. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that." What if he decided to do that? You see what I'm saying? Look, you know how much more wicked the world would be right now? What if he decided not to do that? You see? We don't so if he's our example, if he's saying I only do what I see my father do, that means that I'm obeying every step every move he make, every step he take, I'm obeying that. I'm going to implement that. I'm going to model my life after him. I'm going to do what he's calling me to do. Look, you want to know why your kids is acting strange and like something like they acting like it's trick or treat every day? Because maybe it's because you're out of sync. You're not in order or in line with the word. You're not in line with what the Father is telling you to do. Even when it comes to the place of correcting your children, bringing discipline to the home, you have to be in line. And we have to be in line. Those of us that have children in that area too. Even in being single, I still have to be in line in order for the atmosphere to bring about peace in my house. I have to walk in obedience. Walking in obedience is walking in righteousness. When I'm walking in righteousness and I'm keeping my hands clean, my heart pure, and I'm living according to his word, now I'm operating in obedience. But when I'm living contrary to his word, when I'm living outside of grace, outside of his word, now I'm operating in disobedience. You see what I'm saying? So, getting back to the story. So now he says this, verse 9. So he said to them, this is Jonah speaking to the mariners, I am a Hebrew. Jonah knew who he was, children of Israel. I am a Hebrew and I feared the Lord, or I fear Yahweh, the God or Elohim of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Then the men were exceedingly afraid and said to him, why have you done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of the Lord because he had told them. Then they said to him, what shall we do to you that the sea may be calm for us? For the sea was growing more tempestuous. So check this out. So now getting back in line with the Father now. The Father exposed Jonah. Then Jonah had to confess. He had to confess. He had to be transparent with them mariners on what was going on. Y'all getting this? He had to be transparent with what was going on. So when we are operating in disobedience, This is how you get out of. This is how the Father, he turns the table on our behalf. We have to be transparent. And that is something that we love to do. We love to hide. The Father don't want us hiding. He wants us to be transparent with him. You see what I'm saying? Being transparent with him. What does that mean? That means that I'm being naked. That means that I am coming before him and I'm saying, Father, you know what? I messed up. I know good and well you had told me to do this, but this is what's going on. This is why I didn't do it. And you have to be honest. And this is something we should always work on with our relationship with the Father. Work on honesty. He knows everything. He knows everything. Yes, he does. But being honest works on our heart. It helps us to get in right standing with the Father. It's saying to the Father, I can't do this on my own. I need your help to do this. Help me do this, Father. Help me to do what I don't want to do. This is how you get out of walking in disobedience. You got to be honest. And Jonah had to be honest and he had to be transparent with the men that he was on that boat with because everybody's life was depending on Jonah, on the prophet Jonah. Everybody's life, everybody would have lost their life if he would not have been honest and been open about what was going on and what had happened. You see what I'm saying? So now here we go. So then he says in verse 11, then they said to him, what shall we do to that the sea may be calm for us? For the sea was with growing more tempestuous or more violent, right? And he said to them, verse 12, pick me up and throw me into the sea. Then the sea will become calm for you. For I know that this great tempest is because of me. So for peace to come, Jonah had to separate himself from who he was around. And see, and I really believe that this right here is for somebody right now. The Father's trying to get you to go a certain way and trying to get you to do certain things and move in the way he wants you to move. And he's saying, look, I need you to separate yourself because you're causing more harm by not living according to my word than you think that then you're causing any good. I need you to separate yourself. Get away, come out from among them. So now here we go. So verse 13, nevertheless, the men rowed hard to return to land, but they could not, for the sea continued to grow more tempestuous against them. Therefore they cried out to the Lord and said, we pray, O Lord, please do not let us perish for this man's life, and do not charge us with innocent blood, for you, O Lord, have done as it pleased you. So they picked up Jonah and threw him into the sea, and the sea ceased from its raging. Then the men feared the Lord exceedingly. So even through his disobedience, they found themselves having a heart for the Father. Ain't this something? So the Father, even though Jonah is operating outside his will, he will still use his disobedience to save somebody else's life still, to show his power and his glory and for somebody else. Ain't that something? So look. So then the men feared the Lord exceedingly and offered a sacrifice to the Lord and took vows. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah fled from his assignment. Jonah found himself comfortable in disobedience. Don't find yourself comfortable in disobedience. Don't find yourself in the belly of the fish or in the belly of the whale. You don't have to find yourself down there. You see what I'm saying? You ain't got to find yourself down there in the belly of the fish. All you have to do is decide, look, I'm going to do what you want me to do, Father. But Jonah found himself right now in the belly of the fish. So let's go to chapter 2. Let's see what happens to Jonah. So Jonah prayed to the Lord, his Elohim, from the fish's belly. And he said, I cried out to the Lord because of my affliction, and he answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice, for you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the floods surrounded me. All your billows and your waves passed over me. Then I said, I have been cast out of your sight. Yet I will look again toward your holy temple. The waters surrounded me, even to my soul. The deep closed around me. Weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the moorings of the mountains. The earth was its bars, closed behind me forever. Yet you have brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer went up to you into your holy temple. Those who regard worthless idols forsake their own mercy, but I will sacrifice to you with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pay what I have vowed. Salvation is of Yahweh, or of the Lord. So the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh. Now check this out. Jonah found himself in a position to where he could not get out of it. How many times have you found yourself in a position to where you can't get out, but you got to cry to get out? You got to call on his name to get out of that situation. You getting what I'm saying? Don't see, and this is what disobedience does. Disobedience ends up putting you in a tight place. If Jonah wouldn't have cried out to the Father, Jonah would have died up under the mountain. Because he was down in the depths of the sea. You getting what I'm saying? In the belly of a big fish. A lot of people want to assume it was a whale. I'm going to keep it at a big fish. It don't say a whale. We don't know what's all in that water. But this is what disobedience does. It puts us in a position to be in a place to where we got to cry out to him. We got to cry out to him. It's the same with the 10 virgins. The 5 come back. They come back. The door is closed. They couldn't even get in. They couldn't even get in with the bridegroom because they were not prepared, because they wanted to do what they wanted to do. And then they had to go and figure out how to purchase and buy some more oil because they should have had their oil already prepared, waiting for the bridegroom. Don't wait. Don't wait till the last minute to get your life right. Don't wait till the last minute, because everybody don't get to make it to a deathbed experience. Don't wait till the last minute. Get whatever it is the Father has you doing now and has you getting in order now. Get it in order. Get it in line. Don't find yourself disqualified because you want to keep living contrary to his word. You are still qualified because the blood is still running warm through your veins, and he's still showing his mercy and his grace to you. That's what qualifies you. But if you keep being disobedient, you will find yourself not being qualified. You getting what I'm saying? You'll find yourself not being qualified. So it's best for us to stay in his will. So now let's see. So chapter 3, verse 1. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah the second time. Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and preach to it the message that I tell you. So Jonah arose and went to Nineveh according to the word of the Lord, or the word of Yah. Now Nineveh was an exceedingly great city, a 3-day journey in extent. And Jonah began to enter the city on the first day's walk. Then he cried out and said, Yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So check this out. So Nineveh It takes a day to drive through Texas from one end to the other. It's taking him 3 days. It's an extent. It's a 3 day journey. And I'm assuming that's on horseback. You get what I'm saying? So Nineveh is pretty huge. Nineveh is a pretty big city. It's not small. You see what I'm saying? It's not small. So the people of Nineveh, verse 5. No, verse 4. And Jonah began to enter the city on the first day's walk. Okay, so he's walking. Then he cried out and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. So the people of Nineveh believed Yah, proclaimed a fast, and put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least of them. Then word came to the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne and laid aside his robe, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published throughout Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, Let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Do not let them eat or drink water, but let man and beast be covered with sackcloth and cry mightily to Yah. Yes, let everyone turn from his evil way and from the violence that is in his hands. Who can tell if who can tell if Yah will turn and relent and turn away from his fierce anger so that we may not perish? Then Yah saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and Yah relented from the disaster that he had said he would bring upon them, and he did not do it. This is why it's important to obey the Father. This is why it's important to not function in disobedience, because there's people lives at stake. When the Father has given us an assignment to do, when he has called us to something, we need to take heed to that and do it. Why? Because the king and the whole city would have been wiped out if Jonah wouldn't have did what the Father told him to do. He had to obey. And do you see when he obeyed and when he gave the word that the Father wanted him to give to the city, the king and all the city went on a fast and a consecration. And they said, Look, we're going to turn back to the Father. We're going to let go of all the wickedness that is in the city. We're going to live. Could you just imagine if your city decided to fast and pray and decided to say, Father, Yah, we acknowledge you, we love you, and people start getting saved in your city? Could you just imagine that? All because you decided to do what the Father called you to do. You see what I'm saying? Just imagine. Even if it was just your home, because he told you to pray in your home, because he said, Look, if I need you to pray in my house, I need you to pray in the house, I need you to stand in the gap, I need you to intercede, I need you to do all this. And just because you do it, how many lives will be saved, and how many lives will be spared? How many people will have their hearts turned back to him? You see what I'm saying? All because of that. You see, we can't just do whatever we want to do. We have to live according to his word. We have to live according to his will. You see? So walk in obedience. Walk in obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Any sacrifice. Obedience is better. Operate in obedience. You have everything in you to be all that the Father's called you to be. You may be, you may be walking in disobedience now, but you're still not disqualified. And that's what Jonah was, not disqualified. He wasn't disqualified. The Father qualified him. He was being rebellious. But if he would have stayed in a rebellious state of mind, he wouldn't have been qualified to do what the Father called him to do, because he sabotaged himself from fulfilling the will of the Father for his life. You see what I'm saying? Walk according to his will. Don't work on doing anything else. Practice keeping your hands clean, your heart pure, right? Practice keeping your hands clean, your heart pure. The Father has a lot in store for you. So instead, next time, look, if this has been a blessing to you, subscribe for more, follow for more. On TikTok, we're also on YouTube. It's going to be the YouTube video. So subscribe for more, share the video, leave a comment. all show some love, all that. You know what I'm saying? All that. So this is GA. Till next time, talk to you soon. Peace and love.